Hello and welcome back to Stitch and Thread. My name is Anna and today I have a podcast episode for you. Today I'm coming to you with a regular episode full of summer knitting. I have one finished project, I have 3 works in progress, and I have an embroidery project which I picked up after a long hibernation. If you have seen my summer knitting plans video, I think you will be familiar with most of the patterns I mentioned today. If not, feel free to watch these videos at a later time. I'll leave the link in the description below. So let's dive in. Okay, so my first finished object is a camisole number 2 from My Favourite Things Knitwear. It is a simple ribbed camisole which you knit from bottom up, and I have chosen to knit the size 1, and I've used hand-dyed yarn by the yarn Bargello, and it is a gorgeous combination of 50% merino and 50% silk. It's just the drape of the fabric is quite amazing. I love this emerald green color, it's just gorgeous. So, as you can see, while it's summer, I'm not wearing it. So, why? And here's why. The thing is, just like I mentioned, you need this top bottom up. Fine. And I have tried this top on a few times whilst I was knitting to make sure, because it's quite tight summer knit. It was all fine. However, when I reached my bust, it's only then at the very end of the project when I realized it just does not suit me. The neckline, the way it looks. I will try to put a picture of me. I mean, I'm not sure if you can see it, but it's just it doesn't enhance me in any way. And so I was pondering when I finished, because basically I was at the end. I was pondering what to do. And I was thinking actually of frogging it altogether, and I was almost at that when my daughter said that she wouldn't mind wearing it, and she's 9 now, she's quite a tall girl, so I think for now I will pass it on to her. If in a couple of years she's not wearing it, just like even though she said she would, I'll probably frog it, because I love the yarn. The yarn is gorgeous, but it's probably my first I mean, I think I should be kind to myself, because whilst it is a failure, it also puts me off knitting any patterns bottom up, because I didn't realize. I mean, if I was knitting this from the top, I think by the time I reached this area, I would already realize that this neckline isn't my cup of tea, and if I would either continue or try something else. But by the time I almost finished the project, it was a bit too late. So you can, to actually frog and do something else with it. So it is an interesting experience, and as I say, it's my first ever summer project, so I'll be kind to myself. It's still nice, but yes, not for me. One thing I want to mention about this project is something I've never noticed before. Is at first, because when you knit bottom up, I quite like the stitch definitions. I like my stitches. You can see. Let me see if I can show closer. If you can see the line. So while I think it's up to maybe here. Can you see the line somewhere? Right here somewhere. So you knit in a round. You just knit. However, at some point, you start knitting flat to accommodate for all these triangles. You see the triangles are different at the front and at the back, and I start a bit earlier. And while I kind of noticed for the first time that somewhere here, that my knitting isn't as great when you knit flat, because while I'm quite a tight knitter, and my purl stitches are slightly bigger, I believe. So I think in this fabric, it resulted in kind of messy stitches. I think it's maybe I'm a bit picky. I think person who's never done anything like this might even not notice, but I do notice, I must admit. And that kind of shocked me a bit. I've never noticed when I knitted something like this, but I guess most of the garments are knitted, they were knitted in the round. So it is a bit of a new experience for me. So that's it. All done and dusted. Love the color, love the fabric, love the yarn. I do not like the finished garment. Okay, c'est la vie. Okay, so my next project is my most ambitious project for the season. I must admit, I wasn't sure even about attempting it, but Sherry from Good Knits, she has her own YouTube channel, she convinced me that it is a possibility, that I shouldn't be too scared of this pattern. So I bit the bullet and decided to try it on. And it is Melides dress from Inês Oliveira. It is a lovely summer dress which you can wear either with the buttons up front or the buttons at the back, so you have two options. The pattern is kind of knitted down to your own measurements. It's just gorgeous. The suggested yarn is Knitting for Olive pure silk, which I'm using. I'll just show you quickly. I'm using the silk in color P shots. Let me just show you quickly. It's gorgeous, beautiful. You can see it's gorgeous green color. I'm knitting size 1. Let me just get out of a project bag. So just to say straight away, I bought the pattern and I was overwhelmed straight away. There are 40 pages of instructions. You need to take your own measurements, quite a few, and I suggest you do. I went through the pattern, I read it through, I familiarized myself with the Melides dress calculator. I will talk about it a bit later. So I finally got the sorted my measurements and started knitting. The way you knit, let me just show you what I've got so far. So as you can see, sorry, it's a bit probably crinkly. See, so I needed basically the whole top part. You start with the waist to bust, so going up, where the different level of increases, then decreases for the armhole, for the front. Then in the end, I'm sorry about the threads here. I kind of, because it's a dress, it's gonna be long. I'm not sure how long I need my straps, so I kind of sewed them using the Kitchener stitch, but I decided, like right here, see. But I decided to leave all the yarn behind just in case I need to redo it at the later stage. So I'm officially on page, I believe, 25 out of 40, so I'm doing well. I think the biggest amount of instructions are actually for the top part, because it's just so customizable. You have a different level of increases for armhole. At the same time, you have increases for the neckline. And I literally had to have my pattern with me at all times. Moreover, I was writing down on paper the number of rows I'm doing, because the rates of the increases or decreases were different depending on the measurements that you have and depending on your gauge. So speaking of gauge, I did a swatch. I was very careful with the swatch, and I hit the gauge. However, my row gauge was completely off because I'm a tight knitter. But here comes the Melides dress calculator. You can input your kind of row gauge and it will tell you how to adjust your levels of increases or decreases depending on your row gauge, which is amazing, because I often have patterns and where I need to adjust my row gauge to understand that I need to knit a few more rows. So that was great. I'm making size 1 as I said, I was very lucky in a way, because the pattern also allows you to adjust the levels of decreases, increases, and amount of stitches depending on your each of your measurement. But I hit size 1 in every single measurement, so sorry about that. So I didn't need to do that, which is nice, just one less complicated thing to do. But yes, I had to check every single row, had to color coordinate like my numbers to check them, because sometimes you have increase on both sides, sometimes you have decrease or increase on one side. So you have to be all very, very much involved in this pattern. Oddly enough, maybe because I was treating this pattern so seriously, I don't think I've made any kind of mistakes. I hit the right amount of stitches, the right amount of rows, at least as far as I can tell. So touch wood. It kind of was, I mean, I never needed to actually frock, which is quite a surprise for such a complicated pattern. We'll see, it's not the end yet, maybe it's still in the future. One thing I want to mention though is that because of camisole number 2, and what I mentioned, that I suddenly realized that my purl stitches are not quite as tight as my knit stitches, I did one thing. I wasn't planning to knit with wooden needles, just these ones. I'll show you this. Yeah. I wasn't planning to knit with wooden needles, and I believe my swatch was also using metal needles. However, because of the issue with my camisole number 2, I thought of trying to knit with my, let me just see, what's this? Yes, to knit with my 3mm needles and to purl, because here you obviously need one row per purl the other row, and purl with 275. And the only way I can do it is using interchangeable needles, and the only needles I have are wooden needles, especially the small size. I have metal ones, but they're much bigger. So wooden needles it is. I mean, I must admit, probably would be better. I prefer metal needles, but it's okay. It's not bad. I can manage that. So get used to it. I mean, summer yarns could be probably too bad for me, but just to show again, I mean, I don't know if that helped, but at least I don't see too much of rowing out. I mean, I must admit, until camisole number 2, I haven't seen that before, but mostly I was knitting in the round. So happy with that, very happy. All I need to do is another, I don't know how many rows of stockinette. Okay, moving on. My next work in progress is Pebble Top by Lene Holme Samsøe. It is a nice, delicate camisole, which is knitted in stockinette top down with a nice kind of crocheted edge. It's quite a small one. I mean, I do not do any crochet, so it's going to be something new for me. But in the meantime, I decide I will knit and I will deal with crochet later. Their design suggests to use either 3 or 2 yarn, and it's exactly the yarn which I've chosen. Let me just show you quickly. This is gorgeous color called blush. Yeah. Let me just tell you, it is 50% linen, 30% cotton, and 20% lyocell, and you've got 175 meters and 50 gram skein. Speaking of yarn, I mean, I've heard many people are saying that how yarn could be hard, especially linen yarn could be hard on their hands, and it was an interesting experience. This yarn is quite crisp. I mean, it could say it's hard, but I actually quite enjoy working with it. It is an interesting experience. I mean, I'm surprised. I mean, maybe I expected that I have to resist or something, but it is hard, but I don't feel it's hard on my hands. So it's a very different experience from knitting with wool. But A, I love the color, and B, I quite enjoy working with this yarn. So we'll see how it goes. But so far I'm really impressed. So I'm again, I'm knitting size 1. Let me just show you what I've done so far. First of all, you're meant to knit 3 triangles. They're exactly the same front and back, and then you join them. Does I have some? And then you join them in the round, and then again it's the endless stockinette, and that's where I'm at. The thing is, I did some modifications. The pattern just tells you to start with X amount of stitches and do the triangle. However, as you can see, I've made a small strap as well. So the reason is, first of all, I have decided that maybe if I do that, that the pattern will be a bit more bra friendly than otherwise. But second is that I noticed a lot of people, when they try to start their crochet kind of strappy, like a very short strap thing with the crochet edge, it just that top part just looks a bit stitched in. So that's what I was trying to avoid as well, because because I could start at the end of the strap and just don't have any stitch in issues here straight away. And I just in the end, I'm hoping I'll just do crochet edge in the end. We will see how it will turn out. I don't know, but I just decided to risk it and see how it goes. Another interesting thing, again related to this yarn, is that my swatch was very different from pre-blocking and after blocking. So I believe I had 29 stitches in 10 centimeters pre-block, and oddly enough only 26 afterwards. So it just kind of came together. It got a bit soft as well, which is nice because, as I said, it feels a bit crisp, but nice, a nice way. I mean, I can really see how this yarn is very summery, because at the moment it also is, I feel it's quite large on me. It has a lot of positive ease, but again, I'm keeping in mind that the way my swatch behaved was quite different. So I'm hoping that it will behave the same in the knitted garment. And also, I mean, as you can see, it's quite a gapey fabric, I guess. Yeah, so maybe it will help with that as well. So one way to find out, we will see. Yet another, I don't know, finger weight project, and again a lot of stockinette. So while obviously I'm knitting kind of small summery tops and you'd expect them to be done in no time, I find it because I have so many rows to go through, they do not kind of fly off my needles. So, but anyway, I realized that I quite like finger weight yarns, especially for summer. I just want something light and flowy. I'm okay with that. My next knitted object is a Soho top by Caidree. It's a classic sleeveless bottleneck top knitted from the top down. And just has kind of nice feel to it. It's constructed using garter stitch. Let me just show you again. I'm kind of halfway through, I feel. So the designer suggests using, I believe it's pearl Soho sweetgrass, I think called double. So this yarn is inaccessible to me, so I'm using one of my stashed yarns, which is Drops Muscat in color mint. I think it's a decay weight. So how many do you have here? You've got 21 stitches and 28 rows on 4mm needles. I believe I did hit the required gauge for the pattern. And again, I'm knitting size 1. So the way this top is constructed, you need to knit first one shoulder, then the other shoulder, and then you join them together with additional stitches that you pick up to create the whole panel. And in using garter stitch, which is basically knitting then back while doing it was the flat, you create the whole panel. So you do the same way, front panel, then you do the back panel. I believe they're actually the same. I don't think there are any modifications. What is on my size? So you do the front, you do the back, and then you join them in the round. And then in order to create the garter stitch, I'm sure you all know, but when you need to do garter stitch in the round is to do one knit row, one purl row. When it's flat, it's just knit on both sides. So for some reason, I decided this is the easiest projects I have. So I think I didn't pay enough attention. So this is the project which I had to frog a couple of times. One thing to mention before I'm talking about my frogging things is that when you start, you need to be very careful with these sleeves, because just a couple of stitches, you have to be very careful with tension, and I had to restart a couple of times because it just didn't look right. I had to keep my tension right for these. So the first time I frogged it is when somehow, I'm not quite sure how I did that, but when I joined in the round, I think I had like two knit rows instead of one, and it just created this kind of weird gap. So I had to revert back. I mean, obviously I noticed I've got a couple of rows. I needed to revert back, start over. I needed them quite a long way until I realized there's something wrong with my foreseam. I think for whatever reason, I didn't really read the pattern correctly. I just thought, oh, whatever, I just knit in the round. No. I kind of forgotten about this foreseam. Let me just show it to you like this. It's this beautiful one. So again, I had to reverse. I had to frog it back, still there, and from the third attempt I did it. But I'll show you. I think it's on this side. There was one area where again I made a mistake. I think, yeah, you can see it, and I think I tried to fix it, and I think I made it. No, it's just right. Yeah, it's just right here, and I made it worse basically. It's just right here, just the stitches. I just couldn't do it. So I think when I tried to fix it, I even did it worse. I was considering of frogging it again, but then I'm like, no. It's not too bad. It's not perfect, but it's not too bad. Maybe in the end I can just adjust a little bit the tension there to make it slightly neater. But I decided to continue on and knit away. So again, I think I'm halfway done, if I'm not, it's just like this, yeah. So halfway there, and then from what I remember in the pattern, you have to do some edge stitches here. So that's my Soho top. One thing to mention is yarn. I've talked earlier about the yarn which I like to work with. Drops Muscat, I don't like working it. This is exactly what people say when they struggle and they find the yarn is hard on their hands. 100% cotton. I think I'm regretting having this yarn, because I realize going forward I probably will not be knitting with 100% cotton because it is really hard. I mean, I could feel if I work for a couple of hours, I feel my hands are in pain. So just kind of an advice to you, probably if you're not, if you have never knitted with this yarn or just 100% cotton, it seems to be quite hard on your hands. So just beware, or at least be prepared if you want to buy the bullet and just do it. So because the thing is, I have the same yarn but in a different colorway, and I thought, okay, I have a project planned, but now I'm not sure. I have probably quite enough, just I'm not sure. I might just do it and probably will never buy this yarn again. We'll see. But the experience isn't great, I must admit. Okay, so done with this. Let's just see what else we have. Okay, let's move into the realm of knitting plants. I don't know if I mentioned last time, but I saw the pattern Calm Night, let me just see, Calm Night Cami by Lily Kate France. Just released this, I believe, June, and I'm in love with this pattern. I thought like I need to knit it. I need to have it in my life. It's a V-neck camisole, again, very elegant, and the designer knitted hers in, I think, yarn art yarn. It's 50% cotton, I believe, and 50% acrylic, and it is 165 meters in 50 grams. I'm not keen to have acrylic in my garments, so I wanted to look for alternatives, and look what I found. I found yarn, which is this gorgeous lime color. It is Bisigan Summer in Kashmir, and it is 90% cotton and 10% cashmere, which is nice. I mean, I was wondering after experience with Tropics Muscat if 10% cashmere can somehow improve my devastation, I guess, with 100% cotton yarn. And I must admit it does. I mean, just even touching it, it's much softer, it's nicer feel. I mean, it's obviously kind of, you can see, the sport weight yarn. So it's much smaller than Drops Muscat, which is like, I think, a DK weight. So let me just show you the swatch I've made. So I made a swatch using 3.5mm needles, and that looks like that. Isn't it gorgeous? I loved knitting with this yarn already. So even 10% cashmere, it doesn't scare me in summer simply because I'm living here in the UK. And our summers are not very long and often not very hot, so I think I probably will tolerate 10% cashmere in my knitted garments. So, but we'll see. I think my 3.5mm needles are currently busy with another project, possibly even the Pebble top, which I've discussed earlier. But in any case, I feel I have quite a few projects on the go, so as soon as one of them will finish, I'm ready to go. I really like it. Okay, now we're moving into acquisitions. So in acquisitions, just like I mentioned, I have this gorgeous yarn. I just purchased it this month and straight away needed to knit with it. So the other acquisitions are related to my Melides dress. First of all, I purchased some buttons. Sorry if it's noisy. Just find them. They're just gorgeous. Let me see if I can show them. They're quite small. Can I somehow show one? Yeah, like this. It's gorgeous buttons. So these are the pearls. These are suggested buttons from the designer. I just loved them on her, so I decided not to venture. I came all the way from France to the UK, and I don't think it took more than a couple of weeks, so it was very, very quick. But I wanted to be prepared. I mean, I knew knitting a dress won't be a, a quick fix, but I'm prepared for the time when I knit these buttons. Another purchase was, again, for Melides dress, and that's additional kind of cable as well as interchangeable cord joint. So the reason I needed these is because the interchangeable needle set from Cini that I have, I think the biggest cable is maybe 80, but when I will do the cord, I might need a lot longer cable, and especially even if I will be doing my dress like towards the bottom where it's going to grow bigger exponentially, I don't think I have enough cables, and I needed cord joint for sure because it's just they're quite small. But the shop sent me the wrong item at the beginning. It was a bit of Macintosh in London. Very grateful to them because as soon as I received everything very quickly, I kind of told them that's not the right items, and because they sent me instead interchangeable converter. For larger needles, you have slightly different joint. So I have a converter in case I ever decided to use larger wooden needles. So we'll see. You never know. I mean, I mostly knit with metal needles, but I can see with some yarn that could be wooden needles could be useful. So that's it. And then something which is already related to embroidery. Just to say straight away, I'm not very big on embroidery. Mostly I'm doing every now and again some tapestry. I think there's somewhere, yeah, there's a nice tapestry cushion which I've made last year. And again, last year, I think when I finished with that cushion, I wanted, I think I wanted some kind of Japanese inspired project, and I came across Japanese embroidery, which is an amazing technique. You basically embroider silk on silk fabric. It's just so intricate, amazing. I mean, for someone like me who has never done anything so intricate, I was overwhelmed, and I thought, no, I can't do it. I mean, it's gorgeous, but it's not me. It was also quite difficult to find any information, and not many people are doing anything like that here in the UK. So if anyone of you are interested, I mean, I know we're here for mostly for knitting, but if anyone has questions or interested in that, please let me know, because it's quite something. Very different experience. I find very meditative. So this long story is just to say that I started last year my Japanese embroidery learnings with Nuida from Atlanta, and just this month, in order to work with some gold, I purchased these komas. Let's see if I can. You can see this, the woodwork of it is amazing. These are just required in order to work with some golden thread. It's actually golden thread as well. I just purchased for my new project. Again, it's from Japanese Embroidery Center in Atlanta. So as well as some couching thread. Again, couching thread is used in Japanese embroidery for couching gold. So these are gorgeous. These are just used to kind of help for the gold to weigh it down. And so they have to be, depending on size, you have to have different weights of these. They're gorgeous, not cheap, but gorgeous. So again, if you're here just for the knitting, you might just want to go to the very end, because next projects I'm going to talk to you about is my embroidery project. So when I saw on Instagram, I believe, I think on Amazon, a book, I wanted to venture a bit more from tapestry and cross stitches, something new, just something. I saw Bargello. So I found this book called Easy Bargello, and I saw this lovely picture. I'll probably put it somewhere here. And I saw this picture, and the thing I liked is the color scheme, that it was in yellow and blue, and these are the colors of Ukrainian flag, and that's my homeland. So in 2023, when I saw it, as you know, the war is still going in Ukraine, so it just kind of felt very close to my heart, and I felt I want this project in my life. So I decided to make a cushion, because I believe in the book it was just kind of, I think you needed to make a pocket for some tote bag. Didn't need that, didn't really want that. So let me show you. Have recently picked it up because I feel in winter I'm always knitting. So I picked it up. Now it's warm. You see, it's a bit, yeah, it's a bit bright. So I'm not sure if it's me, but we'll see. I mean, because I had to adjust the amount of threads I needed, I ran out still, even though I tried. I mean, who knows, because there was quite a different amount. So currently I'm waiting for the replenishment. I think I have only a couple of yellow ones left, but I need quite a few of blues. And it's DMC soft cotton, I believe. Coton Ratu matte. Again, I've never worked with anything of that sort, but I'm not particularly convinced, especially when you do tapestries like a wool. You work with wool. This is very soft cotton. I feel like when it goes through canvas, it's just spreads and kind of destroys itself. So I don't know how well that cushion will last me. We will see. I'm really excited. Hopefully by the next podcasts I will make the actual cushion from it, because now it's summer and I'm always into embroidery in summer. That's it. Thank you for being here. If you like this video, please hit the subscribe button, like this video, comment. Please let me know what you're working on, any summer projects. How do you find your choices of summer yarn? Maybe you have your own favorites. Please let me know. And I guess see you next time.